Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, we've got a few stories to cover, including the Xbox Hall of Fame rewards, the Pirate Academy, and if you're ready to attend, and is Sea of Thieves too demonic for your mom? All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. First up on today's docket, let's dive into what the Xbox Hall of Fame is. Now, I am not familiar with this as a recent adapter to the Microsoft ecosystem, thanks to Sea of Thieves. And in the 2 years that I've been covering this game, I've never heard of any of this Xbox Hall of Fame. Now, if you're familiar with this, then you're probably laughing at me at the moment because you are fully aware of what this entails. But I had to do some digging, and I have to say, I'm really surprised at what they are asking. So first off, the reason why this is getting brought up on this week's episode is because it pertains to Sea of Thieves. This is the first time I've ever seen anything for Sea of Thieves, and you hopefully knew about this going into this weekend, because unfortunately, by the time you're listening to this, it is already ended. It is already 10/5/2020 or October 5th, 2020. And this was between the 2nd and the 4th. So what they wanted you to do was to go out and earn as much emissary value as a pirate legend in Athena's Fortune as possible. Now, obviously, you have to be a pirate legend to be able to gain access to Athena's Fortune emissary voyages. So if you were playing between the 2nd and the 4th, and I believe this was limited to Xbox consoles only and was associated with your live account, you must also be in participating countries and 17 years old. It's really interesting to see that this is going on because the prize pack for this is pretty impressive. And if you don't know what the prize pack is, it is an Xbox Hall of Fame prize pack, which will include an Xbox Hall of Fame trophy, of course, a 12-month subscription to Xbox Game Pass paid, and an Xbox Hall of Fame branded hoodie sweatshirt, and also an Xbox Series X. They might have mentioned something about that. Yeah. If you are one of the participating players and you win, and there is one award per participating country per category, you will win an Xbox Series X. And this is interesting when you look at Sea of Thieves. Now, when this news came out, it was really surprising for me to read it and kind of dive into it and think, man, could I jump into this? And I thought, yeah, I probably could jump into this. But I've got a busy weekend with what I have going on through, Destiny and sailing and streams and podcasts. I probably wasn't going to have very much chance of getting high in the emissary value or on the leaderboards for the Athena's Fortune, as much as I love doing it. But if you were out sailing this weekend, there might have been a good chance that you came across some people working on Athena's Fortune emissaries. And if so, maybe you got some loot and really upset their day because they were shooting for that free Xbox Series X. Now that the time is over, I would love to see who won in their respective country, because this is, as interesting as it is, a game that you can play regardless of which country you live in with other countries. And one of the interesting things that popped up was the concept of alliance servers. And I was kind of surprised that so many people, even though this is a feature that has just recently been introduced within the last year, have forgotten that emissary value is a per crew ranking. You do not get to benefit from other emissary turn-ins as far as I remember. Now, I could be wrong, and you're more than welcome to write in and tell me, hey, Logan, you're wrong about that. It does benefit from alliances, but as far as I know, loot turned in alliances does not earn you ledger ranking. So for all of those out there hunting down Athena's Fortune chests and goblets and kegs, hoping to maybe get a boost in your ledger emissary rank, sorry, unless your name is Prodigy X, in which case you have a community that's supporting you and they dish it all out to you to get you to win that Series X. And that's their way of supporting you. They may not give you subs or bits. They may just want you to win this thing. And that's probably not likely the case, honestly, because Prodigy X has moved on to other games, and looking forward to seeing what he's out there playing. And I would not be surprised if other streamers, maybe lesser known ones that I am aware of, are having this process given to them as well too. Maybe they're working with their community to try and win this prize. That's, as far as I know, well within the rules. So if you guys take a look at this, and you're, say, been playing since 2013 on your Xbox, you might be interested to know that gamer score is another category. Whoever has the highest gamer score will win one of these prizes, and this goes until October 19th. In fact, all of these contests go on till October 19th, where I'm sure things will be evaluated and people will earn prizes. There's also going to be the achievement conqueror, whoever has the most achievements earned in the lifetime of the Xbox One, and that goes from November 22nd, the launch of the Xbox One back in 2013, all the way to October 19th in 2020, when we will be waiting patiently for another month while we get our Series X consoles. The Game Pass ruler, most Xbox Game Pass titles played in a lifetime of Xbox One. That also goes during the duration of the Xbox One console. So if you've played a lot of Xbox games since Game Pass has been introduced, you might have a chance at this. And then there's others that are more time limited, things that begin in October, one in September. In fact, September actually started on the 22nd with Forza Horizon 4 getting the fastest lap on the Xbox Hall of Fame circuit, something I was not even privy to because I was just playing that game the other day and had no information about it pop up on my screen. Kind of a bummer. State of Decay starts in October 16th and goes to the 18th, so that weekend, if you eliminate all plague hearts as quickly as possible on a freshly started map at standard zone difficulty or above, you will be possibly winning one of these prize packs. I went ahead and talked about the Sea of Thieves one. That is the one that is kind of pertaining the most to us, since we're the ones that are mostly playing Sea of Thieves. If I had to comment on any of this, just as an overall segment, I think it's great. I think it's great that Xbox is rewarding those who are loyal to the games that have been keeping Game Pass going in between, like Master Chief Collection or Gears games getting released. State of Decay 2, Forza Horizon 4, and Sea of Thieves. To me, they're the bigger staples for the Game Pass ecosystem for first-party content. When I think of Gears 5, I think a lot of people are happy with the actual campaign, but they mostly play horde mode. And with Halo, most people are going to be playing through the multiplayer maps, which is fine. That's how most people play a lot of those titles. And hopefully they find some fun, and maybe this drives a little more engagement into Forza Horizon 4, which I know is a very loved and beautiful game. State of Decay 2, which has come a long way, especially since their Juggernaut edition, and of course, Sea of Thieves. Probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest staples on Game Pass, launch day one on Game Pass and for sale elsewhere. Probably one of the best games that you could jump into, bugs and all. Definitely think that this was a great way to showcase the new emissary system for Sea of Thieves, something that's very recent to our game, and a great way to kind of capitalize on people getting out there and sailing. So if you were out there, I truly hope that you got as many Athena fortune turn-ins and your emissary rank was as high as possible. And if you weren't shooting for that, I hope you were able to sink plenty of ships out there carrying tons of Athena ships or Athena treasure, and being able to turn that into the Reapers to get that credit. Next up on today's docket, let's dive in once more into the Stand Up for Cancer sales, the sales of the union. Again, I wanted to reiterate, just because I feel like I touched on it last week, but I want to keep bringing this up. I got a chance to sail this week, and it was a really good time, and I got to sport these liveries. And I will say that the Scurvy Bilge Rat set is probably the best you can find as far as pairing up these liveries to sails. So they've got the arrows, they've got the yellow coloring. But I do have to say, I really love the colors that they picked for these sails and the glowing nature of them. They look great. They're available until November 6th. I would really highly recommend that players go out and get these if you can. The cause is worth supporting. They're available on Steam and the Microsoft Store. They show up pretty quickly. They shine at night, and they've got beautiful little star patterns and across 3 crossed arrows, which I actually still kind of want to understand a little bit more about why that looks like that. But you can pick these up for £5 sterling or $6 on those respective stores. I'm sure they are available in other countries. I just probably don't have access to those to be able to touch on that. Next up on today's docket, I wanted to dive into a really interesting change to the Sea of Thieves website. Now, if you've been over there for a little bit, you might have noticed some changes with your profile. You've been able to access many things, including your inventory and achievements, but there's a new feature, and I don't know that I know how to enroll. Or maybe I have enrolled 2 years ago, and I am so ready for this Pirate Academy that I could probably teach there. In fact, I probably do teach there. I probably just don't realize it. So if you guys head over to the Pirate or the Sea of Thieves.com, if you go to /Pirate Academy, you're going to find a really interesting bunch of information for new pirates. And the reason they're doing this, I imagine, is kind of a good way to try and introduce people if you go to the website. Though I will say this is kind of hidden on the website. I actually had to find it in the game, and then off on the sidebar, there's a Pirate Academy. And without really knowing that that's a good place to start for new players, I don't know how much discoverability this is going to find us. I am pretty happy with what they've talked about. Now, they've actually gone in and dove into a lot of different things that you can learn in the Pirate Academy. And this ranges anywhere from picking your pirate to getting around, your first steps, crewing up, life and death, outpost features, as well as the different Order of Souls or trade companies, including the Reaper's Bones and the Hunter's Call, as well as navigation tools, practical tools, voyage quest items, musical instruments, and of course, supplies. Now, this is just a small portion of what's in the actual Pirate Academy. You can actually download the new player guide, and the new player guide will actually have a fairly decent PDF. Looks like at least 24, 25 pages of information, kind of diving into some of the things you can expect as a new sailor, including the pirate code, something I actually really love. It dives a little bit into adventure and arena, and even gives you a nice layout of what mouse and keyboard default settings for controls are, as well as what the controls are for controllers, which is a really weird way of saying that now that I think about it. But as I look at the image of the beautiful Sea of Thieves limited edition controller and then glance down to my beautiful version of it, I can't help but really want to pick it up and keep using it for other stuff. But it is standing by. It's basically for when I play games on my PC. I don't want to use it that much because the more I use it, it's going to get destroyed. And I want it to last as long as possible. Getting back to the player's guide. So the player's guide dives into the same things that what I mentioned earlier on, but it also talks about Duke, the Dark Lord, and the Bilge Rats, which is slightly out of date, and world events, which fail to mention, as far as I can tell, the new Ashen Lords, but it does dive into the Tall Tales. It has a lot of information about what to expect when you get on a ship and what each of the different parts of the ship are for, including some of the actual names of the different parts. Like apparently there's the grog barrel versus the water barrel. So, one to get you drunk and one to help you get undrunk. And it also dives into how to get back to your ship, sharks, some of the different equipment you're going to have, and what you're going to want to worry about as far as like throwables. So I really like that they're doing this. I really just don't know how many people are going to dive into it unless you're already a hardcore fan. I have spent many a time digging through websites for games that I'm not too familiar with to try and find out how to play them with very little success. In fact, most of the time, I generally have a better chance of talking to someone and having them explain stuff to me than trying to look up websites or listen to YouTube videos. In fact, I do that a lot. One thing that I did find interesting in the PDF is it talks about open crew versus closed crew and how to find a crew in general, as far as clubs, hubs, affiliate alliances, Reddit, official forums, and the Discord servers that are available out there. One thing that I have been asked of from some of the CM team, former CM team, is if my Discord is big enough to be considered an affiliate Discord. And unfortunately, it's not. I'm about halfway through there as far as the player count on my Discord server, and I wouldn't mind being on there, but at the same time, the people that are there are great people, and they found the Discord natively or organically, I say, better. And I kind of like that aspect of it. I think it's great when people are invited in either by myself or by other pirates from the Discord. That way, everyone kind of knows each other, and it's a little safer environment for those that do join up. The interesting thing about this is that it dives into Streams of Thieves, which is kind of diving into the creator crew and the partner program. Sadly, it looks like they are still representing Mixer in this PDF, which unfortunately at the time of this recording is no longer a thing. They have some frequently asked questions here. Can I play Sea of Thieves offline? Short answer, no. The one interesting thing that is in here is what's the Sea of Thieves Insider program, as well as I've just started playing in Sea of Thieves. What should I do now? And can I play Sea of Thieves by myself? Not too much information regarding is Sea of Thieves a PvEVP game? And I think I said that right. And if you can play it as a PvE game, something that still seems to be a very, very highly discussed topic. I would say debated topic within the community. A lot of people have very strong feelings about these, and with the advent of private servers eventually coming to the mass, I'm sure we will probably have some people that enjoy that, although I know that others still want to earn achievements in a play space that's a little more savory to their taste, something that's a little bit safer for them to not have to worry so much, especially if they aren't fully able to play the game and they do require assistance. It would be nice to have a safe place for them to enjoy the game their way and still earn achievements and feel a sense of accomplishment. Rare really seems to be emphasizing a few things with this. They really want to touch on making sure that Sea of Thieves is a safe space for people to play, understanding that it's a pirate game does not give you free reign to be a jerk about things and to use hate speech or be derogatory or just a bad person in general. Now you can pirate talk as much as you want to people and curse them and tell them that you're going to take their treasure or sink them and things like that. But keep it within the state of the game. Keep it in contextual pirate talk if you want. Just try to make sure that it's not something that is going to eventually end up hurting the game because of toxic behavior. I think this is kind of a good time to dive off. Let's just say that there's one little last bit about the Pirate Academy that I wanted to touch on that isn't really, I think it's a big deal, but it's kind of surprising. I wasn't really expecting this as I was digging into it. But it turns out that if you are a fan of the lore, like I am, and you have been reading the extended universe content through the comics as well as the books, you might recognize that some of these articles are written by none other than Nine-Cat Nura, who, in my opinion, is the more spicy half of Diving Bell and Nine-Cat Nura. They were two that found Flameheart Jr.'s journal and subsequently read through it and then notated in it. And we're kind of recounting the tales of how Flameheart Jr. became the skeleton lord that he currently is, wherever he may be. The thing I like about this is that Nine-Cat Nura is a prominent figure in that book. I think she's really fun, and I'm looking forward to being able to see her in game. Now, the interesting thing about this is that they've actually picked a pirate to represent her. So we now actually see what she looks like. She's got a great model. They picked a really good outfit for her. And she still has that kind of spicy attitude that I love in the Tales of Sea of Thieves, in the writings of the Pirate Academy. So if you go over to Sea of Thieves, you can find her profile. And if I would be so bold, she writes, "Welcome, would-be pirates. I'm Nine-Cat Nura, writing to you from the Sea of Thieves. Why? I was promised a good amount of gold if I did. That's why. Besides, the rest of my crew are ashore, handing in a couple of skulls to Madame Olive over at the, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you're reading this, you've almost certainly been tempted by the pirate life and want to get a taste of it yourself. That's great to know, because everyone out here loves a rookie, especially the sharks." I love it. It's exactly what I welcome everyone to Sea of Thieves as. I really love all of the rookies out there getting tons of treasure for me and learning some combat lessons along the way, while I also still like to enjoy getting a good fight in with some veterans too. It's really great to see some lore come to Sea of Thieves. I feel like it's been a while. I feel like I've been trying to find a hook into the game to draw me away from other stuff, especially as busy as this winter is going to be, as this fall season is going to be. It's a big time right now in the gaming industry, and I want to make sure that there's things that draw me into Sea of Thieves. And seeing Nine-Cat Nura and finding out that she's writing these articles for the Pirate Academy so that people can get their sea legs is great. I love it. It's so nice to see that they're trying to capitalize on the characters that they have invested in for years and done nothing with. Because to be perfectly honest, I think Diving Bell and Nine-Cat Nura are two of some of the more interesting characters that we've come across in Sea of Thieves. And they're not even in the game yet. So I can't wait to find out now that we have Lorena. I can't wait to see more of her crew hopefully come to Sea of Thieves. I'm sure that there will be additional bilge rats. And I can't wait to see Diving Bell and Nine-Cat Nura show up in the game at some point. It's a promise, a hint, a tease, something that wants to give you something that will comfort you in the knowledge of lore being brought to the game from the extended universe, as was promised so long ago when we had asked about whether or not Nine-Cat Nura or Diving Bell were going to ever make it to the game, because it was still in question. And after so long, it feels great to finally put a face to the name. Ahoy there, mateys. If you're like me, you're looking forward to all of the great games that are coming in the next few months, and boy, are there a lot of them. Assassin's Creed, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, we've got Cyberpunk, lots of awesome games that are going to be coming to the consoles that you want to play them on. And what better way to experience them all without having to dish out a full price than using Gamefly? So if you go into the show notes, you'll find a link where you can get the first 60 days for $10. After that, it'll start at its regular cost. You may be thinking, sure, but what about new games? Well, using the standard all access plan, you can reserve a new game up to 6 weeks in advance and ensure that it ships on the same day as retailers would ship it to you. You get to play it, you return it whenever you want, and pick another game if you want. And they even have a 2-disc plan that involves 2 games, or a game and a movie, or 2 movies. And with the movies, they even even have Blu-ray DVDs as well as 4K Ultra, just the right thing for that new Series X. So head over to the show notes, look for that link, take a look at the terms and services, and see if it's something you might be interested in trying out for $10 for 60 days and get into some new games outside of just Sea of Thieves, because boy, there are a lot of good games out there. Thanks. Love you. All right, pirates. This is a little bit tougher of a discussion point for the news this week. It's surprising that this has just cropped up. I'm really curious to find out kind of maybe what prompted these articles to show up. But it turns out that Kotaku, not my favorite publication. In fact, I'm not too big of a fan of certain writers that are from there and maybe have since moved on. But we got an article this last Friday regarding Sea of Thieves. And of course, when Sea of Thieves news pops up around articles around gaming reviews and just the general industry, I always love to jump on and see what they're talking about. In fact, we did get some awesome stories recently, and I will hopefully have some more news about that next week, pending some scheduling conflicts. And this article, unfortunately, is not one of those. This is actually something that is calling back to what happened in July. Now, obviously, back in July, if you were keeping watch on Twitter as well as Reddit and Twitch, you were probably aware that there was a fair amount of issues, I will say, some maybe bad decisions or ill-informed decisions. Well, maybe not ill-informed. I would say probably some poorly communicated decisions from both parties, lots of parties, honestly. And I think that this dives into it. So if you guys have no clue what I'm talking about, let me stop beating around the bush and just talk about it. Kotaku put out an article talking about how Sea of Thieves has lost some of their streamers as a response to toxicity that was a result of some events that happened back last May. Now, this is dealing with Say Hey Rocco, as well as a few other streamers that I will spare their names for the sake of getting any kind of backlash. Say Hey Rocco has already dealt with a lot that he should not have had to deal with, and his family should not have had to deal with. And it's interesting that this is coming out now, a couple months after the events have actually passed. Now, if you're not familiar, a fair number of Sea of Thieves partnered streamers have left the actual partner program. They've moved on to other games, and many other people who are unhappy with the way this got treated ended up stopping the game or stopped playing the game as well too. And to be perfectly honest, I gave it a good, long, hard thought. And I really had a hard time with this because the people involved were people that I considered really good people that deserved better. But I don't know what could have been done that was better that happened. I have some personal opinions on that, but I don't want to dive into that because really it's not going to be changed. And my opinion being out there doesn't impact what was already done. What was done was done. I had no hand in it. I had no information about it until it had already passed. But I did see the blowback as a result. And if anything, that's what really kills me, because I don't know that there was a perfect answer to this that couldn't have been construed in a way that still ended up hurting people, which is kind of a shame, because I love the people that were hurt and the people that made the decisions to leave Sea of Thieves in the community. But there are so many other people in the community that are doing right by the pirate code and the terms of service and are trying to make the seas a better place, a more welcoming place, a place where people can find this game, not understanding what's been going on personally between different parties, and just want to enjoy the game. And that's ultimately what kept me sticking with the game. Now, obviously, this has hurt my feelings as a result of the incidents that happened. And as such, I've felt less connected to the dev team the way I used to. And likewise, I felt like the team has disconnected with me as well. I don't feel like I have quite as much communication with them as I used to. Now, obviously, part of that is them being super busy and me not reaching out all the time. But it definitely feels like there's a little bit of a disconnect than there used to be. And I don't know why or what happened or if that can ever be mended, but generally it sucks. It feels bad. So seeing this article kind of reopened some bad wounds in a time where what I wanted to do was to try and focus on the goal of the podcast, which is to try and inform fans, listeners of the going on that deals with Sea of Thieves, whether it be news from the company themselves or whether it be in the community, and to find a place for your guys' stories, for your stories. Your stories are what really kind of invigorate people to go out and play Sea of Thieves. They hear these tales, they want to play, they want to go out and have fun. And if they're finding that respite from their day in the year 2020 of whatever this is, then that's the important part, is trying to find a place where you don't have to deal with toxicity. Now, I could go to any game and probably find some toxicity. So that's why I think I try to emphasize the charities, supporting the good causes, bringing good people to the game through those means, or the giveaways that they have where they're trying to bring you cosmetics for properties that you enjoy, first party content that are from Microsoft that you want to have that kind of representation in the game, and stories from the community, people who have really good nights and really awesome experiences and want to share that with other people because they just love the game. And that's what I wanted to focus on since July. It's why I kept doing the podcast. It's not something I really talked about, but it's generally because I didn't feel like I needed to say that. I felt like me just doing the podcast the way I had been, but addressing this as respectful as a way as I possibly can. Obviously, I'm an idiot, so I can't always make things come out the right way, and I always say things wrong most of the time anyway. So it's hard to get this right just when I'm not talking about sensitive subjects. So I just wanted to let you all know that I think the team at Rare have learned a lot about their first stab at making a games as a service, about having a community that is directly connected to them and influencing the development in part with the partners, and that the partners are intended to act as promotional guides for Sea of Thieves to promote an area where you can have a positive environment. And I'm going to be real honest right now and say that Rare has stated that they have made changes internally to help make sure that this doesn't happen again. And I have to take their word for that. I haven't heard otherwise, and I haven't seen otherwise so far. But at the same time, we're in a world where we're still having some contests going on. Dread Pirate Doug is doing an awesome job right now of being able to bring you some great content through the Race of Legends. And I've also seen some really good competitions go down. And I haven't heard of anything coming up from the partnered programs or the partners that kind of reflects that things have gone south as opposed to north, in the sense that they're getting better. So the one thing that I will say would probably help out a lot with bringing on new Sea of Thieves partners to the program is the Xbox Ambassador program. And if you're not familiar, I've talked about it in the past. I'll touch on it lightly, but it's a place where they're trying to bring in more people to build a positive environment, to build in a safe haven where everyone is welcome, and that it's a commitment. You sign a commitment to try and be the best person you can be in gaming with Microsoft. And they reward you for that. They have levels. I found out that I'm a gold level this season, and I was really happy about that. And with Sea of Thieves partners, I feel like it shouldn't be a question, but it seems like it needed to it seems like it should have been to begin with. But with the terms of service through Microsoft and what they outline as far as harassment goes and how it's not acceptable, and the Sea of Thieves terms of service as well as the pirate code, I felt like we had enough of a safety net to protect people from getting harassed, and it didn't. And it makes me upset every time I think about it because it's not right. So I wanted to see if there was one more barrier to entry that we could put in for the partners that really kind of make sure that if you want the best people that are getting brought into the into the partner program, that they're not just popular people, they're good people. And I think the Xbox Ambassador program should be one more step that they have to commit to. They have to go through, they have to read a bunch of junk, they have to click accept, and they have to commit to getting into the partner program. Sure, if you're trying to become a Sea of Thieves partner right now and you're streaming your butt off and you're trying to hit the requirements, or you're making YouTube videos and you're trying to hit those views, I understand. Trust me. I make a podcast. I don't even have a means of getting into the partner program, but I would love to be in the partner program because I see that there's benefits for my community for it. Now, I would love to be able to talk with other partners and get their thoughts on things and help build a better game for people, because I feel like I would bring some valuable opinions to the discussion that would help maybe get some more accessibility to the game, or get some safer environments to the game, or just some improvements to some of the lore, or more story being told in different new and interesting ways. I can't do that with the medium that I did. So trust me, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you feel like you are having to jump one more hurdle to get into the partner program, I'm right there with you. If more people jump onto the ambassador program, commit to being a positive person in the gaming sphere, and to try and make sure that they are welcoming people, teaching them the ropes, being kind to those. And you know what? You can still be a pirate. It's not mutually exclusive. You can still be a pirate. You can still be an ambassador. You can still sink other ships and steal treasure and still wish them, well on their next voyage, and hope that they have a better time with other players out there, or how things are going on the seas. I just want the best for this game, and I think it's possible. I think it's doable. I think I would love to see more. I take that back. I have seen a lot coming out from Rare trying to reaffirm of their stances about no exceptions when it comes to toxic behavior. And I really hope that the people who've been pointed out with the Say Hey Rocco situation are kept under a closer eye. Keep your friends close, you keep your enemies closer, kind of thing. You want to, if someone, raises a red or a yellow card on someone on the field, you're going to pay more attention to that player. And that player may get a red card at some point, but at least the yellow card is that warning. It's like, hey, you really have to pay attention to what you're doing, because you're this, it's a podcast. I can't show you how close my fingers. Imagine my fingers are very close together. Very close together, and they are that close to getting a red card, and that's about as much football knowledge as I have, so I'm going to leave it at that. Hey, I thought I was done with that last topic, and to be perfectly honest, the reason I'm jumping back into it is I think that this article, and I've gone through the article and I've thought about it, and the more I think about it, the more I realize that I think this is something you guys really should read. It's a lot. There's a lot of information, but the information actually dives into a lot of the stuff beyond just Rocco. It actually dives into the history of some of the things that have caused rifts with the Sea of Thieves community, where we've had problems in the past, and the actions of Rare in this instance. And to try and just kind of put a cherry on the top of the idea that I was trying to craft before I got into the rant, was that I wanted to point out that I believe that Rare wants to be the best company they can be in making this game. And they are going to continue to learn how to make a games as a service for us. And we are directly responsible for giving them the right feedback for this. And it comes down to ensuring that we are trying to put in the proper amount of time and insiders to give our feedback about future content for those that don't mind being spoiled, but also issues that they run into as far as bugs. And two, speaking to them on social media about what they like and what they don't like in a constructive manner that doesn't just result in, hey, I don't think this is cool. Or, hey, this sucks. Hey, this sucks doesn't fix anything in the world. You can say it and you may feel better about it. It's not going to change anything. You have to open a line of dialogue. Anytime you say that, I guarantee you, all it does is shut down lines of communication. Doesn't matter who you're talking with. If you say, hey, this sucks to someone, they're going to be like, okay, cool. I wash my hands. Very few people are empathetic enough that are willing to sit there and take the time to say, I understand and I'm sorry. What can we change to make it not suck? Hey guys, before I get into this next story, I just wanted to apologize because I realized after going back to edit it that I pronounced Hitbotc's name totally wrong through the whole thing, and I didn't even click until I went back and started listening. So sorry about that. Hopefully you guys understand, and on with the show. All right, pirates. The last story I wanted to dive into is an interesting one. So I took a break, went and chilled out for a little bit, and I have to come back to you with some sad news, unfortunately, because I feel like I may have been led astray by the skeletons and the magic and the whale lord, because I did not realize that this game is a pretty demonic game and we're all subjects of the whale lord. And if you're not too familiar with what I'm talking about, you might not have run into Hitbotc, who is one of the better Twitch streamers and YouTube content creators out there for Sea of Thieves. He's been doing it for quite a while, and it's been quite enjoyable to see his content come through. He's been playing for a long time and has done a really good job at fostering a pretty good community that follow him through his adventures. And the one thing that I have to say is kind of I'm going to be careful about that word. The thing that is surprising that I didn't expect was him coming out on stream this last week to announce that he has to move. And he's had to move from Oklahoma back to Oregon. So if you're not familiar with the situation, basically what happened was recently Hitbotc found out that his mother-in-law is very, very upset with what she believes is Sea of Thieves, a very demonic game. And a lot of this might have actually come down from the fact that he tends to joke about all hail the whale lord, which does sound very cultish, I admit, but when building a brand, when coming up with phrases, I'm sure many of you are familiar with mine. They happen because they happen and you don't really plan on it. And the whale lord just kind of ended up being one of his things. And it was funny. Everyone enjoyed it. In fact, many people still do it all the time, but not to his mother-in-law. And unfortunately, she believes that the game is too demonic to have underneath her house or her roof. So in response, Hitbotc and his wife, who had been saving up to buy a house and were lucky enough to be able to stay with his mother-in-law, have recently had to move. And it's a killer. It sucks because you really don't plan on that. And when he spends a majority of his time streaming Sea of Thieves, that is where his community is. They want to watch that content from him. It's not just as easy as jumping ship on Sea of Thieves and picking up another game and keeping that retention. So my heart goes out to you, dude. I really, really feel for you, because it's not fun when people believe in something to be negative that really is probably not negative, but they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to have that in their life. And you're kind of forced to decide, do I keep my livelihood or do I find a new place to live? Kudos to you for trying to be trying to take the best road that you can take on this, dude. I can't imagine having to move over a video game. That's just it's kind of mind blowing just to even think about it. He does say that he does very much love his mother-in-law, that they're still in good terms as far as I can tell, and thanked her for giving them a place to stay while they saved up to be able to buy a home. And as much as he disagrees with his mother-in-law, he will continue to play Sea of Thieves for the time being. I wish there was a better situation for this. It's definitely, of all the things to happen in the year 2020 of Coconut Fever, this is not one of those ones that I thought I'd ever see. Captain Falcor moving as a result of his landlord experience and what's been going on with that. I can definitely understand how landlords can be and how that ended up being. It was a really bad shrift that he got, and I feel for him for having to deal with that. This, though, this is just surprising. And I'm kind of wondering, have any of you listening to this have to deal with that? Have you ever run into this where you've been living somewhere and the person that you're living with has for lack of a better term, a resentment towards a game? Has it been too gory? Has it been too demonic? Has it been inappropriate for he's an adult. He is a functioning adult. He buys his own stuff. He does his own thing. It's so surprising to me. I can't process this. But dude, my heart goes out to you. I was watching the stream VOD and I could just see like the same feelings that I'm feeling now. I watched you having, and it was just killing me because I was like, man, it's unfair, but you're doing the right thing, dude. And man, I feel for you. So does this happen a lot? Is this something that you guys that listening to this have run into? I'm really curious. This feels like an outlier, but I know, trust me, I've had a fair amount of experience with religion in my life, and I can definitely tell you that I can see this happening. It just surprises me when it does. And I think that's the craziness. That's going to do it as far as the news goes and the stories with the community. We're still waiting to hear what the heck is going on with October. I expect that next week or this coming week, we'll probably actually get some information from Rare in the form of a Sea of Thieves news video. So keep an eye out for that this Wednesday. I'll probably dive into that next week, pending any interviews that I might have. And I kind of want to know what we're going to be getting for the Halloween event. For the last 2 years in a row, we've had the Festival of the Damned and the oh man, wait, I was like, we'll just say Festival of the Damned. We've had things to do. Fort of the Damned was the last venture into the Halloween spirit. We got some awesome stuff as a result of that, and I kind of want to know what this year we'll have in store. Maybe we'll actually just get some cool masks that have skeleton stuff on them or Kraken stuff on them. Like, can you imagine if we got the Kraken head, but the Kraken head was just a mask that represented the Kraken's face, and we never actually got the Kraken head we never got the body, but we just got a mask that looks like the Kraken head? that would be some gutsy stuff there, Rare. I think that's pretty funny. Outside of that, Pirates, I know that in the Discord, I had a great time sailing with Sightless Combat this week. We are continuing to sail every other weekends for now, 7 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. Pacific, and I think it's 2 p.m. British time. And we're trying to get him to Pirate Legend. Right now, the method that we're doing is Order of Souls, Gold Hoarders, and Hunter's Call, because those are the ones that he has the best accessibility for. So we're working on that. Shout out to Captain Nev. This weekend we sailed and we got him to Pirate Legend. So thanks to Captain Balzania as well as Darth for helping get those last few merchant levels. It was really great to see and welcome another Pirate Legend to the game. And if you guys are hitting Pirate Legend and you're in the Discord, there's an arbitrary system involved with the color scheme for your name. Let me know if you're Pirate Legend and you don't have a purple name, because I can totally give you that. I'm the only one that can give you that, and I just need to know. So other than that, I'm going to be on Twitter as usual, going out there and sharing all my thoughts and whatnot for Sea of Thieves, as well as many of the other games and stuff that's going on in the industry. If you want to follow me at CAPT_LOGON, you're more than welcome to do so. And if you want to send in an email, I don't think I got any emails. Let me just double check real quick and see if I got any emails this week. No, I did not get any new emails this week, but I will say that your guys' reviews have meant a lot to me. I'm pretty sure that I got another one. Nope. Looks like I read that one in with last week with the other two that I got. The only other thing that I wanted to touch on is that I'm currently building up a Patreon. It is something that I am dabbling with right now because I'm looking for multiple ways that people can help support me. I've added merch in the past. I've had sponsors now, as well as the network, to try and make sure that there are ways that I can offer you guys benefits for supporting me. So Gamefly is a great way. Green Man Gaming is a great way. Audiobooks.com is a great way. But the Patreon is going to be my way of trying to promote the show and earn something back to help cover the cost of the show. I keep talking about this a lot. I'm sure you guys are getting sick of it. But if you're looking to get an ad-free RSS feed for the show, that's where Patreon is going to be. For $3 a month, you can get the ad-free version. We're going to be offering different tiers, as far as like higher tiers that'll get you called out on the show as a producer. You'll also get access in higher tiers to a specific Discord channel that I'll try to make sure that it's a very special channel for people that join up. And if you're really crazy and you want to support me, you can actually be one of the gold hoarders, where you can actually get swag as well as all of the benefits for the prior tiers as well too. This is something that's still very early in stages. I'm going to be talking to some friends that have Patreons to get some good advice on how to make sure that I'm offering the best value to the Patreon as I can, while it's within my means, to be able to make sure that I can just get good content for you if you decide to join up. Again, this isn't a need. This is something that I'm just trying to do to supplement the cost of the podcast, because unfortunately, this is going to just be something it'll getting a Patreon going is I'm looking to try and get support so that I can start building foam padding for sound deadening foam for the walls, that I can get a mixer so that I can actually knock out some of the noise that I have to spend time editing out as I'm recording. Also, I'm looking to try and get a better system so that I can get one with water cooled system, so that I can actually have less fan noise going in this room. All of those things are things that unfortunately take investment, and it's investment that I can do on my own, but having a Patreon is just something that helps out with that. I've been gabbing on about that for far too long. I'm sure you're probably already sick about it, but that's kind of where I'm at with the podcast right now, and how we're trying to build up as we continue getting closer and closer to the third year. Oh my God, are we doing this for the third year anniversary? We're getting closer. February is, I think, the third year. My God, it's been that long. That's going to do it for this week. Pirates, Thank you to everyone that I sailed with. Congrats again to Captain Nev and Captain Balzania for helping me get Nev to Pirate Legend. Thank you to all of those that shared your stories with me this week. I really appreciated reading those, and that's going to do it. I want to know what we're getting into, so keep an eye out. Keep an eye on the horizon, Pirates. And with that, I think that's going to do it. Pirates, thank you. I love you, and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Have you ever wanted to learn more about geography without sitting through a snoozio lecture? Geography Arcade is a weekly podcast all about your favorite video games and their geographic lessons, inspirations, and even some minor analysis. Some may say analysis. Boo! Well, we're going to learn and have fun while we talk about Pokemon, Elder Scrolls, and much more. Come join the adventure at Geography Arcade on your favorite podcatcher and YouTube.
In a world where solid-state electronics and vacuum tubes are still meta, people never stop loving atomic-powered everything. A chosen 500 stepped inside a subterranean vault to be spared the nuclear horror of the inevitable Great War. 25 years later, they emerge after the fallout settles to retake Appalachia. Among them, two former rivals whose blood feud will tear West Virginia apart in their epic struggle for survival. Chad, a vault bro who has a strength of 15, an intelligence of 2, and is a complete wasteland dickhead. Simon, a complicated anti-hero who chooses light and hope, but accidentally becomes a cannibal and wakes up naked and afraid with a Scorch Beast Queen after a date goes terribly wrong. What? I mean, it's a wild wasteland, right? This dark humor radio drama will have you driving off the road and crawling out from under the fallout. 2 men, 1 wasteland, and so many nukes. Chad, a Fallout 76 podcast, rated R, now streaming on your holotape player podcasty thing.